welcome. I'll send it to you after our meeting.
Sounds good. I think it should pop up in the chat, so we should be
Okay,
fine. But hey, everybody, Happy New Year. It's 2023. I heard I'm supposed to not say that after January 7th, but I don't really care. So I'm saying it to Tamara and Joe here from Goodwill. So they're going to be going into a presentation for us about Goodwill Lift IT training program. So please take some notes if you can. And this may be a really good resource for a lot of your clients or families that are wanting to pursue this avenue. So I will let Tamara and Joe take it away.
Yeah. Krista, do you mind real quick letting kind of giving us some background about what it is you all do? I know that I met with everyone in the summer, but
Yeah.
I think you do a better job explaining it to Joe than I will.
Yeah, no problem at all. So all of us work for the Department of Human Services here in El Paso County. And who we have on the call is a lot of case managers, supervisors. There could be a couple specialists on here, but what we do is we work in the Colorado Works TANF program. So we are serving families in El Paso County that need some cash assistance and case management. They need to be eligible for the program and having basically either no income or very little income, and they need to be a family. So either a mom is pregnant or she has children, fathers too, of course, that are a part of the household as well. We have fathers that have children as well. And all of our case managers have a caseload. So they're working with these families for sometimes it's one meeting and sometimes it can be 2 years while on this program. So they're getting monthly cash assistance as well as very rich case management. So our case managers are meeting with our families it's changed. I think it's every 8 to 10 weeks right now, and giving them information, resources, helping them find employment opportunities. We also do education opportunities, on the job training as well. And then we also help with a lot of other needs, such as supportive payments for transportation, for housing, for bus passes, things of that nature. And so that's kind of a nutshell of what we do here. And so the ultimate goal is to help our families become sustainable so they no longer need TANF assistance, and they're able to move forward in their journey, whatever that may look like. We do have some families that are with us for a couple years because maybe they are pursuing some degree or certification, and we're able to work with them. I think some people have thought TANF is only a work program. You have to get employment as soon as possible, but we're also looking for families to get sustainable long-term employment. So sometimes that could take a while as we help them through their journey to get to that level. So we have families that we only see one time and they find employment immediately and they only needed us that one time, but we have a lot of families that need us long-term. So does that answer your question? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any other questions, Joe?
And then some. Not really a question. I guess the on-the-job training. What fields do you do that in? Is that I take it not in the IT field, right?
Actually, we have had a presentation before by Goodwill, the IT department with lifts. So that has been an option. It's been a couple years though since we've had a training with it. But I would say anything we can get our hands on, the more broad our resources are, the better, because our families are broad. They're all individuals and they have different avenues. So we've done on-the-job training here at DHS before because we have a subsidized employment program. So people can do, in-office training. Goodwill, I know, has a lot of on-the-job training opportunities. I know Goodwill, I don't know if they do currently, but used to have the STEP program. We utilize that a lot and did a lot of referrals there. And they had kind of a plethora of opportunities as well. So yeah, anything we can get our hands on to help our families. I think we've even had a family want to be a tattoo artist and found an apprenticeship. That was one family I can think of. But yeah, anything.
Amazing. Oh, great.
Chris, I don't know a ton about it, but I know that we do still have the STEP program here at Goodwill. Or actually, I think you're right. We might have stopped and now we have it again.
Yeah, I know that Community Works got it, and we got training from them, and so I think we've sent them a few referrals. But yeah, I didn't know if Goodwill had gotten it back yet because we hadn't gotten
Yep.
official training on it yet. But I know our case managers have definitely asked about it, and
Okay.
because they want to be able to refer families that are
Yeah.
interested in that.
They
I
should.
will I'll connect you to my manager who's part of that after
Okay,
this.
We have a
excellent.
rehire program that is related as well that might work for some of those folks.
Perfect.
With
All right.
rehire, that we pay the employer for 9 weeks to employ this person, and then it's up to them to take over at that point.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
To get into the rehire, the applicants have to have certain qualifications that I'm not quite 100% sure. I think
Yep.
TANF is one of them, and uh,
It's
uh,
actually the opposite. So um
that's right.
TANF is
CSAP.
for custodial parents and rehire is for non-custodial
There
parents.
you go. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's actually it's the opposite. But in Denver we have both TANF and rehire, and those two teams do work very closely together.
Gotcha. Understood.
Okay. That's what I
Well,
get for trying to talk about a program I know nothing about.
I do all the time. No big deal.
so do
All
I.
right. I'll let you guys get to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all so much for letting us present today. I know I spoke with many of you about ThinkWorks in the summer. This is another program I support, and Joe Mullally is the program manager of it. But it's a fantastic certification program that we are so fortunate to be able to offer for free. We've helped a lot of people who are making maybe $20 an hour get into jobs where they're making anywhere between, just making 3, 4, 5 times that. So it's been fantastic to just see people progress. So my job at Goodwill, I do a lot. I'm an outreach specialist. I primarily do community engagement and marketing of our workforce and community programs. And then Joe is our IT facilitation manager, and he can tell you a little bit about his role.
I'd be happy to do that. So I taught the LIFT program for 3 years here in Colorado Springs, and then we expanded to Denver this last year, 2022, opened up a branch up there. At that point, we decided we needed someone that's kind of a manager of both, but also I'm kind of a fill in the gaps person for both programs. So when those facilitators need to take a vacation, et cetera, I'm the one who steps in those scenarios. So uh, 3 years doing this, it's very rewarding. We take a lot of people that are either have no previous career or having to change from a previous career. A lot of ex-military folks, as we'll talk about as we go through this training. And so I'll shut up for the minute because we're going to start talking about that here in a second anyway. Anyway, as you might imagine, it's very, very rewarding job. Before I did this, I had my own computer store for 35 years. And that was very rewarding work, but this is about 5 times as rewarding, to be honest. To be part of someone being able to do this for themselves in their life is, just great. All right,
Yes.
Tanya, I'll shut up and let you talk.
No, so Goodwill of Colorado, I'm sure everyone is familiar with the Goodwill retail stores, and you all are probably more familiar than most with all the community services that we offer throughout the state. There are several. If I tried to give a number, I would be wrong, but it is somewhere between 10 and 30. And our overall mission is to help people overcome barriers to economic and um, personal independence through education, training, and job placement, and that it helps us achieve the vision of transforming people's lives. That's really why we do what we do. Is we know that people end up in really difficult situations, and there's lots of reasons for that, but that everyone is capable of overcoming it if they're given the right resources, and we very much want to provide those resources to the folks who take part in our programs. So, a little bit of background on how we achieved this. In 2021, we had almost 5 million retail purchases, and that allowed us to serve over 124,000 people across the state of Colorado. Almost 19,000 of those people received career and job training services, and we were able to place 1,300 people in jobs throughout the state. We will be updating these numbers for 2022, but we're just not quite there yet with only being a few days into January. And the reason Goodwill specifically decided to invest in IT training is that this is a continuously growing advantageous field in Colorado. Currently, technology, information, and security make up 7% of the state's GDP. And there are more than 146,000 jobs across the tech sector, with 11,000 different tech companies. Some of those are small companies you may never have heard of. A lot of them are companies with government agencies, and some of them are huge name corporations you know very well, like IBM, Google, Oracle. So there's so many opportunities someone could be placed in, whether they want a small company or a large company, lots of opportunities. And then we're expected to only see this grow at least 10% over the next decade. And Colorado as a state, and specifically Colorado Springs, um, have a lot of opportunity just due to all the military institutions and the National Cybersecurity Center that we have in Colorado Springs as well. To show you how we're transforming lives, we have a quick little video about of student testimonials. It actually includes Joe himself.
No volume on this end, Timmer.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Give me 1 second to get that set up.
Okay.
I apologize, everyone.
Oh, right. When you go into the share, you need to turn that on, don't you?
Yeah, it's
Well, while we're waiting for that, I'll just speak to my portion of that. I found out about this program real haphazardly, honestly, and I feel like it's a best kept secret in town. Anyway, you got that up, but I was a student is the point. I was initially a student with this program.
yes, it is not a secret. Please tell everyone you know that we exist.
Unemployment, food stamps.
So I'm basically stuck doing stuck.
Paycheck to paycheck, no sense of direction, no passion.
And scared.
Before Goodwill's Lyft IT training program, I was kind of just working from job to job. Minimum wage jobs, unemployment, food stamps.
So I'm basically stuck doing something that may just winnow down to such a small income that I wouldn't be able to support my family.
30 years old, don't really have a career yet. I would actually talk about the Lyft program. And finally, one day I was just like, why am I sitting here talking about this, telling other people you should go pursue your IT passion?
The one big thing about the program was it was free. And at that point I said, you know what, I'm gonna pull out that card from Goodwill and look into the Security Plus program.
Little did I know what it would turn into.
The world's changing, so certifications are becoming more important in college educations these days. That Security Plus certification is the #1 thing that all employers are looking for these days.
You literally learn from the ground up, from the beginning of computers, how they function at the very simplest level. And then your next step would be usually networking. How do you connect to the internet? How do you troubleshoot connecting to the internet? Now you know how to build the computer and get it online, and now you need to figure out how to secure all of that equipment.
Hands-on is key for people.
Having that group discussion was huge.
It opened up a world that I just was missing out on.
It's allowed me to get in with a really good company that gives me flexible hours, weekends off, paid holiday.
It's almost a miracle. When I finished this program, the person who had been teaching it took an IT job and left this position vacant. And I said to myself, man, this is what I've always wanted to do. So I applied for this program and I got the job.
Right now I'm a DoD contractor as well as a National Guardsman. And I think having that sense of pride, sense of service is really what makes me like what I do in the Guard.
Thank goodness for Goodwill giving me this opportunity in life. I love doing this. In this program, I help people change their lives.
I'm in a space now to where I have that freedom to like really progress.
Financially, it's been tenfold. My wife doesn't work now, and I actually save money. It's put me down this path where I feel happy about the things I'm doing.
I have one person I can think of that was a janitor out at Schriever Air Force Base making $20,000 a year. He's now making $70,000 a year. Still working at Schriever Air Force Base, but now he's in cybersecurity.
I came from nothing, and I didn't really have much of an education, but now I'm literally pursuing my passion. I'm making good money, more money than I ever thought I'd ever make. I'm able to support my family without any questions asked, and I'm happy doing it. Super proud. And she's really happy for me because she knows I was miserable, so to be able to do this and enjoy it, and it's helping, it's just awesome. So yeah, she's super thankful.
And that makes me feel so great. When I get in bed and go to sleep at night, I can think about things like that and think, wow, here's what we do at Goodwill. It really is pretty great. Lots of student stories like that. So the three programs we teach, the A plus is really your basic tier one technician role. This is an initiation into computers as well. Lets people understand how the hardware works, what the hardware looks like, etc. Some basics about Windows and Linux. Then Network Plus is what you might imagine. So I'll skip right past that to Security Plus, which is kind of that's where my heart's at, since that's the program I studied for here. And I feel like that gives people a really good boost in this community, especially if they've been in the military, if they have clearance and they put a Security Plus with that. That's kind of a golden ticket in this town. So very important. And all three of those programs, we imagine the students finishing roughly around 18 weeks. We do allow a little bit of scaling up and down depending on what the students' needs are and how they come to us. If they have no background, they may take a little longer to get going with this. We do this with a blended learning environment. Everyone's figured out that's what works best. That means a book, online portal, and a facilitator. And for our program, this is really key. For anyone you want to refer to us, they're going to need to have 20 hours a week free to study, and 10 of those hours they actually have to be at our campus. And that may seem a little extreme, but I will tell you, if we didn't have that, we wouldn't have the successes we have. By holding people's feet to the fire and getting them here to campus, that gets them through this program. And I will tell you, we don't check on those other 10 hours a week that they're supposed to do at home. I know who does and doesn't based on watching progress. Most students honestly only do the 10 hours they're here at campus. So that makes it even more critical that we get them here for those 10 hours a week. All right, so our classroom hours, quote unquote, are shown here on screen. I'm not going to read them to everyone. I figure you can read those yourselves. Initially, when this program was set up, that was kind of when the students had to be here. For me, I kind of figured out that was really creating a lot of undue stress on the students. Nowadays, we've opened it up. They can come when we don't have official classroom hours and get their campus time in. So these are some ideas for different individuals when they might be able to accumulate those 10 hours. One of the biggest things I did was opened up on Saturdays. That Saturdays 8 to 5 is key for people. Anybody that's working Monday through Friday has a hard time getting here. So that gives them the chance to get their whole 10 hours in all at one time. If you look at that Saturday, that's only 9 hours. We're willing to say that's enough. That's your commitment for the week. And believe it or not, a lot of folks, that's what they have to do. They have to come for an all-day Saturday session to get their campus time in. But that ends up making Saturdays the best day here at Goodwill. We have the most fun, we do the most hands-on stuff, etc.
And so with our program, it is free of charge. We are very fortunate to have a lot of different donors funding scholarships, and we are able to provide the classroom experience, the test preparation, textbooks, hands-on learning workshops, practice exams, um, a voucher to go take your CompTIA certification exam. And once you have certified, we work with a variety of businesses across Colorado Springs to find job placement and internship opportunities, as well as have folks come in from these businesses and do presentations, mock interviews, resume reviews, provide networking opportunities. And not only is this all paid for by Goodwill, but you would find that these other courses cost at least $2,000, if not more. And we've also seen that giving people the flexibility to determine their schedule and um, kind of take it at a longer pace than some of these boot camp style classes makes them more successful in the long run because they're not just cramming it in within a few weeks.
We get
Um,
folks that tried the boot camp route and it never works. It really doesn't. Sorry.
no, up on the screen is some of the jobs that people who get their A plus and Network Plus certifications are eligible for. We see this start anywhere from $15 to $30 an hour. I know that's a huge range. It is really dependent on the company itself, the experience that the candidate has. Um, there's just a lot of factors that go into it. So I know that's a large range, but these are all these are all primarily entry level positions, and there's a ton of room for growth within those positions and many of the companies that offer them. And then we do see job prospects a little bit higher with the Security Plus certification. Again, we see those starting wages between $20 to $40 an hour. Again, it's really dependent on both the student and the company what that end wage is going to be. But I mean, these vary. The Security Plus jobs, especially as you grow into your career, are may end up making well over six figures. So you might not get six figures when you start, but it is certainly a possibility as you progress. And then Joe can talk a little bit about the connection between the military and cybersecurity.
Right, I'll touch back on this real quick. And we have this slide in there because oftentimes we are presenting for veterans. And I just really feel like this is a good carryover for a lot of these vets. They come off the battlefield and they don't want to exit the battle. They want to still somehow be protecting America, fighting for America in some way, shape, or form. A lot of them have injuries that prevent them from returning to the battlefield and TBIs, things like that, are really barriers for them in a lot of ways. So This program is perfect. One thing I always like in life, and back when I was in business, I always like when everybody involved in a situation wins, and this is a case like that. The students win, the employers win, the military wins, everybody. So when we say the military, we're really talking about defense contractors for the most part. That's who the military really hires, is all through defense contractors, as you all are well aware, I'm sure.
So, we do have a pretty extensive application process for our students, and this primarily exists to make sure whoever comes into our program is going to be successful. We would love to have everyone who applies get in, but we also know it's a strenuous course and that sometimes there is a necessary baseline knowledge that folks need to be successful. So we start them off we invite them into the building to take an assessment test. There's one assessment test for A plus and Network plus, and then two assessment tests for our Security plus certifications. Um, and sometimes students pass the test their first go around. Sometimes they might not. And that is 100% okay. We have many students who've had to come back to the classroom and take the tests again. And sometimes it might take 4 or 5 times for them to pass. But each time, the instructor who does the assessment will give them some materials to study, and you know, eventually they get there. There is a website called professormesser.com where you can go to kind of see what the assessment test may look like as well and do some individual studies. And once you pass that assessment test, we immediately go ahead and do an initial interview. That's similar to an initial interview you do with a job application, just kind of getting a feel for the applicant's background, why they're interested in IT training, what their future goals are, and also giving them the opportunity to ask us questions and make sure that our program is a good fit for them. We send our students home, or we send our applicants home with an uh, essay questionnaire that we ask them to send back to us, and that asks for information on their past experiences, their passion for IT, and future goals. This is really something that our funders want us to assess to make sure that we are getting people in who want to have a future in the IT field. And then we do a final interview, kind of to just again see kind of a little bit more in depth about how someone would like to use this training, and some questions to make sure that they are up for the course curriculum.
Yep, and this is what we're really looking for, is that passion for the field. As in most occupations, at least difficult to do occupations, if you don't have that passion, you're going to get burned out extremely quickly. You're not going to enjoy what you're doing. I want to go back and speak to the assessment test just real quickly, because when I came on board this program, we did have that assessment test, but we've kind of tightened that up and made it a little tougher than it used to be. And that might seem a little unfair, but to be honest, that's really what has improved our outcomes. Um, by making sure that someone's a good fit for this ahead of time. And the assessment test is more about persistence than it is about knowledge, because as Tamara said, they can come back and take that as many times as it takes until they pass. And what we're really wanting to see is, do they have that drive? Do they really want this? We don't expect most people to pass that the first time around. So we want to see, are they going to study up, come back, and attempt to pass it the second try? And by the percentage we're looking for is 65. That's roughly a C minus, I think, or a D in school. So it's not that tough of an assessment, but we do ask them to get up to a certain knowledge level to get into this program and prove that they really will persist. So we're looking for that resilience and problem solving as well, and also that they're a fit for the classroom. Very few folks that I have found that I didn't think would be a good fit for this classroom along the way.
And then for anyone who is interested in applying, the best thing to do is to go to our website and go to our website, which you can get by scanning the QR code. And I can also send out afterwards if it's helpful, and filling out an interest form. From there, we go ahead and send out the application. If someone would like to, if for some reason someone doesn't go to the website, they can email us at ittraining@goodwillcolorado.org and request an application. And we go ahead and send it out again as well. So that's the easiest way, is to just ask us and we will send that application. And then we get in touch very quickly. I want to say we usually respond within 24 hours, if not sooner. So we do, we keep up to date on that really well. So that is our program. Are there any questions that you all have?
We do such a great job covering this material.
I have a question, actually.
Sure.
Well, a few questions. I have a client who's interested in cybersecurity, but he has a felony on his record. Is that something that would be interfering with his ability to get a job in that field later for most businesses, or what do you think?
It could interfere with him getting a job. It wouldn't interfere with him getting into our training. We do background checks on our students for that reason, to see, whether we think they're going to be employable. And that is because that's part of this program. If we feel someone's not going to be employable, we probably would not put them in this program. But we do run those background checks, and in my experience, we've put every single person in that's ever come to us into the program. I can't speak to whether or not they wound up getting jobs later. I don't
What
know
about
that.
in other tech fields besides cybersecurity, where they need like a clearance, like what are some of the fields that you think one
Right.
could apply to?
Right. That the DoD is certainly going to be the toughest area for them to break into with a background like that. And so the public sector would make a lot more sense, I think.
Okay.
And that's a big part of my job this specific year. Up until now, I've been doing the training. This year, I'm supposed to get out there and find those jobs, people
Okay.
like that in those situations.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for the question, Amy.
Alright.
Go ahead.
I just went ahead and put the link in for the interest form into the chat, but are there other questions we can answer as well?
I have more if nobody else has any.
Please go ahead.
Okay. And do you have like a preference system, like for vets? Like, do they get like first dibs or anything? Everybody just kind of comes in all with the
That's
same.
right.
Okay.
As
One
far as I
thing
know, we've never turned away a vet, and they've all been, brought into the program as long as they got through the assessment process.
Okay. And are there wait lists to get into your program right now?
Not at the moment. One thing I will say is we do tend to fill up our scholarships in Colorado Springs by usually around October-ish. So I would just encourage anyone who's interested to apply as soon as possible. There are occasions where sometimes we get some extra funding at the end of the year, but just in case we run out of funding, the earlier someone applies, the better. We do keep a wait list going once we fill up scholarships, and contact those people to apply again at the start of the new year. But that is the only, we don't have a preference, but sometimes we just fill up.
Okay. And it's my understanding your program is kind of a prequel to like sending somebody to Pikes Peak Community College for cybersecurity or something like that. Is this or is it comparable to those?
It almost works
Comparable.
the opposite way. People come to us
Okay.
after they go through their cybersecurity programs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But it could go either way, certainly. I mean, Same with UCCS. They were referring folks to us because they do teach cybersecurity, but that doesn't lead to a certification. And
Okay.
that's pretty critical, really.
All right. And
Yeah.
did you say you have placement help, job placement help then? Or
We
I
do.
missed that. Okay.
We do.
All right.
Yeah. And we've seen a lot of every company is really different in terms of how they feel about certifications versus college degrees. I would say there's a lot of companies out there that want you to have both. There's some that really strongly prefer one over the other.
True.
So we yeah, so that's kind of a hard question to answer, but I would say that the experiences are comparable and
Okay.
that, yeah, we do have a lot of college students or college graduates who come to us to get their certifications.
Okay. Thank you.
But
Sorry, I don't know much about the tech field. I don't know how it works because I'm not very techy.
that's all
So.
right.
Perfect. And ask more questions if you
Yeah.
have them.
Okay. I think that's it for me so far.
Okay. And I put my email address in the chat. You're all welcome to email me with any questions, or even if you have a prospect and you don't want to answer theirs or don't know how to answer the questions or whatever, have them email me or whatever. Call me too. I don't mind handling all those questions.
Absolutely.
So, because it is a little, confusing, and people tend to think this can't really be free and things like that. So I like to make sure they understand it really is.
Yeah, we just want to see people in our programs and be successful. We really we love this program. We love what we do. And we're really grateful for the opportunity to be able to help someone get the training they need to find a good job. Well, are there any other questions we can answer right now?
And would it be of use to y'all to have like a stack of flyers to be able to hand out to people?
I think a digital flyer would be helpful, just because we see our clients virtually or over the phone. And I know our case managers love having those flyers to do a lot
Sure.
of emails.
Okay, Tamara, you gonna do that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can send that just to me, Tamara, and I can make sure it gets
Perfect.
sent out.
Awesome. I will absolutely do that. Thank you.
Anybody else have questions for Tamara and Joe while we have them? All right. Well, thank you both so
Thanks.
much. And Joe put his contact info in the chat box just in case any of you have some last minute questions. And I will send out the info to all of the teams that couldn't make it today. Thanks, Tamara. Thanks, Joe.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Have a great day, everyone, and thanks for your time.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.